Hi everyone, just a really quick video from me just to talk about the importance and the need for us to warm up properly and also to do effective cool downs as well. So it's really important to understand when we're performing functional fitness and lifting and this sort of training that the importance and the benefits and the reasoning behind how and why we warm up. The first one is that it's an injury prevention tool. So the warm up warms our body, increases our blood flow, increases the sort of plasticity and elasticity of our body. So actually our joints and our muscles are capable of moving through bigger ranges of motion with load on them without ripping, tearing, breaking, causing injury. Also our warm-ups, particularly in our Everyday Athlete program, are specific. So we tend to start with some general warm-up work, which would be sort of the bits of machine work you might do to raise your heart rate and warm your muscles, but also the movements that we perform in the warm-up are specific to the session that you're about to complete. So it helps us ingrain the right movement patterns, warm up the correct muscles, activate the correct muscle groups and joints as well. Like I said, the mobility part of the warm-ups that we do just enhance the sort of range of motion and actually improve your mobility ahead of the sessions. We tend to warm up with dynamic stretches, so particularly let's take a squatting day for example, things like leg swings, bodyweight squats, where we're actually moving through bigger ranges of motion more dynamically, will stop us from losing power. So there is research to show that if you do static stretches for too long, that can actually reduce your power and doesn't have any impact on prevention of injury. So actually, before you start your session, try and make the mobility work and the movements you do dynamic. So things like leg swings, bodyweight squats, shoulder swings, arm rolls, things that are going to move and actually move your joints through a range of motion at a slightly faster pace. We then move into the in the lifting or the training section, and actually before we start each movement, you then want to build up your weight to your working weight. So if you're back squatting that day, you'll do your general warm-up, you'll do your mobility, you'll do the warm-up at the start of the session, and then before you load 80 kilos on the bar, you'll do a set of 5 with an empty bar, for example, then a set of at 40, 60, and actually do 1, 2 or 3 warm-up sets to get you up to your working weight, depending on how heavy you need to get to. So those that are lifting significantly heavier weights might need 1 or 2 more warm-up sets so that the jumps up to that weight aren't so high. Next, we're going to talk about the importance of the cool down or the sort of recovery part after a session, particularly with our training where a lot of our higher intensity workouts are at the end of the session. I'm as guilty as anybody for finishing a workout, you're pretty tired, you've worked hard, and you just want to put your jumper on and walk out, and then you sit in the car while you drive home. Particularly with this sort of training, when your heart rate is raised, lactic acid has got to your muscles. If you want to try and reduce muscle soreness the next day, it's really important that you flush that lactic acid out and that you keep moving. So finish your workout, couple of minutes of just moving lightly on a bike or any bit of cardio kit, just to allow your heart rate to gradually reduce rather than just sit dead still in a car or sit on the floor. Also, if we tend to just lie on the floor and stay still for 5 minutes after we've trained, all of the blood goes to those muscles which need it because it's trying to get more oxygen to flush out lactic acid, and if we're sat dead still, the blood tends to just pool in those muscles. That gives us a bit of bruising, a bit of soreness, and that's where you get this delayed onset muscle soreness in the following days afterwards. So when you finish your workout, just a couple of minutes, the assault bike's quite good, but just move at super slow tempo, 10% pace, just keep your arms and legs moving, just to keep your blood pumping around your body as your heart rate reduces. Then you can go into your static stretches. So that's when you start to hold your stretches for 30 to 60 seconds, particularly on those muscles that you've worked pretty hard. So if you've done a workout that's had lots of concept 2 bike erg sprints in it, for example, your quads are probably going to be pretty tight. So some static stretches on your quads. So pull your heel up to your bum and stretch out your quads for 30 to 60 seconds on each side. So think about your cool downs, try and allocate 5 minutes at the end of your session to do that, partly to physically recover, so to let your, like I said, to stop the onset of muscle soreness afterwards, but also just to have a little bit of a regroup and think about how you've performed in that session, add in any scores or comments to your app and to the program, and actually when you leave the gym, you're not feeling quite as beaten up and knackered as if you walk straight out after a hard workout. So look after yourself. Lots of mobility, dynamic warm-ups. Make sure you do the warm-ups with intent, so don't coast through them. Do the warm-ups with intent, get your body ready and fired up for the session at hand, and then 4 to 5 minutes of just cooling down and a bit of static stretching afterwards, and you should be feeling great. Well done everyone, see you soon.